In TCGs, there are many types of players that buy certain decks for certain reasons. Some love their playstyle, some love how strong they are, some have emotional attachment or nostalgic reasons for playing the deck, and some players just love the art style. The last case was the one usually for Krysrain players, as when I saw people talk about her online, they're usually fawning about her about the art style. And people I've asked locals and the sellers I've asked usually state that it's because of the art style. And while there's nothing wrong with that, Krysrain players find themselves to be in the exact same situation Bavsarga players are in, which is they do hit hard and have a decent card pool, but there is no 4th swing. While Zorga exists, a 3-swing deck that hits really hard like over-the-top power, it again has the over-the-top power thing and 2 criticals to make up for the lack of extra swing. Well, technically, he does have extra swing because of the divine skill, but we'll get to that later. This is also the case for Krysrain. In all technicalities, she does have a 4th swing in the form of her divine skill, but the nature of divine skills is that they could only be used once per game. This means that you have to think real hard in which turn to use it on, which would have the most impact or win you the game. This is not the case anymore, as in the latest episode, Krysrain players finally got their 4th swing rearguard before Bavsarga players. And now for the reason I made this video. A notable competitive player in Vanguard TCG made me a deck list that made Krysrain actually really good. And while there are probably other lists that also work, I find this one to be, again, really good. So thanks BZE. Let's go through notable cards in this deck that make it good. First, I want to talk about a notable generic card in Festival Collection, which is Contentious Meeting Felina. Now, what Felina does is, when this unit is placed on the rearguard circle, Soul Blast 1 and search your deck for up to one Only My stage, put it in the order zone, and shuffle your deck. If this was chosen by the ability of Only My stage in your order zone, this unit gets plus 5k. Now, what Only My stage does is, at the beginning of your battle phase, choose one of your back row rearguards and it gets boost. These pair of cards are really good for the early game going forward, as in Felina becomes a 15k booster, so that number usually is really big, and it also provides magic number. So if your front row is like a 13k Vanguard and you have a 15k booster, it becomes 28, it becomes 2 cards to guard usually, and so and so. Next is our discard fodders. First is Brescia, when this unit is placed on the Guardian Circle from the hand or discarded from hand to pay the cost for the right deck, Counterblast 1 or Energy Blast 3 to draw a card. And the second effect is, when this is placed on the rearguard circle, if you Persona roll this turn, Counterblast 1 or Energy Blast 3, choose one of your units until the end of this turn, it gets plus 5k, and if the chosen unit is a rearguard, return that to the hand from the rearguard circle at the end of turn. Our second unit is Valsblanc. When this unit is discarded from the hand during the right phase, Soul Blast 1 and put herself to the bottom of the deck to draw a card. When this unit is placed on the rearguard circle, if you Persona roll this turn, Counterblast 1 and choose one of your Vanguards, it gets the ability of all of your front row units gain plus 5k until the end of turn. You usually find yourselves discarding these cards for the right phase, but in Brescia's case, you can use her as a guardian in order to draw yourself a PG or a shield value, anything to help you defend against the onslaught of the opponent. Their second effects do come off as well. Valsblanc's is stronger, while Brescia's is more versatile overall. Valsblanc gives you a plus 5k front row, while Brescia does buff another unit, and it can give you the utility of bouncing it at the end phase, but you're usually using them for discard fodders. The next notable card on our list is Loving Pink Friends Set. This card reads, when this unit is chosen by the effect of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Krysrain in its card name, choose one of your Vanguards and it gets plus 10k until the end of turn. Its second effect is, when this unit attacks, if you have 3 or more units with different card names, it gets plus 5k until the end of turn. Then, if you have 4 or more units with different card names, at the end of that battle, choose one of your other rearguards and return it to the hand. Her second effect is what makes her generic. It helps your early rush, it's a beater, and it helps you recur and reuse effects from the units you have on the rearguard circle. The first effect buffs Krysrain's columns because you usually choose her as a target if she's available on board. Then, by buffing her, she buffs Krysrain, so these 2 columns power up. One of my favorite cards is Clear Shimmer Aura. She has a simple effect of, when the attack this unit boosted hits, she can retire herself, then you get to search any type of order card, reveal it to your opponent and put it to your hand and shuffle your deck. She is a really versatile card, and whatever situation or game state you're in, you can simply choose an order, then you can use that order next turn or in your opponent's turn, such as for blitz orders. Here are our options. First is our Regulus piece, which is basically Pot of Greed, or a counter charge and a soul charge. Next is Vibrant Symphony. It's a 30k shield, but given you've already taken damage this turn. And the last is Elementary Sanctitude, which is a perfect guard that can bypass guard restricts, except Blind Guard. The next notable card on our list is Cooling Heart Yuika. When your other unit in the same column as this unit is placed, if your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5k until the end of turn. Then its second effect reads, at the end of battle with this unit boosted a rear guard, Soul Blast 1, choose one of the boosted rear guards and return it to the hand. Yuika has pretty good synergy in the deck overall. It provides utility, but especially for the ride line, because the ride line only lets you look at the top card of the deck, reveal its reveal, then either call it or put it to the hand if it's a certain card that it doesn't let you call. This makes sure that whatever card you call, if it's a trigger or something you'd rather call on later, you can use Yuika to return it back to the hand, then continue on with your plays and your plans. Yuika and Francette are a pretty good duo in bouncing 2 cards for the rest of the game, and not only that, but they're both units that buff themselves. We'd still be using these two, which is Anis and Rom. Anis reads, when this unit is placed on the rearguard circle, if you have a Vanguard with grade 3 or greater Krysrain in its card name, Counter Blast 1 and Energy Blast 3, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 unit card from among them, and call them as long as their names are different from the cards you already have on the Vanguard circle or the rearguard circle. Rom reads, during the battle this unit boosted, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Krysrain in its card name, this unit gets plus 5k. When this unit boosts a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Krysrain in its card name, if you have 4 or more units with different card names, Energy Blast 3, and until the end of that battle, when your opponent would call cards without Sentinel from hand to the Guardian Circle, they must call 3 or more cards with different grades at the same time. While we don't have Krysrain's Restander yet, these cards work fine enough as Krysrain's aggro cards, as Anis is superior caller. If you used her while on Krysrain's Divine skill, you can extend the attacks up to 5, and for Rom, it's basically a PG check or it drains the opponent's hand. These cards, little by little, help you cinch the win and drain their hand and possibly win with Krysrain's 2 crits. Honest thoughts on using the deck, it's way less clunkier than using just her basic stuff and using some of the other generics. You have Aqua to choose different orders from the main deck, you have the cyclers, like 6 of them, discard cyclers, then you keep drawing and drawing. You have Anis for the aggro, Rom to make things a little bit more of a mind game for the opponent, and Yuika and Francette to bounce the cards so that you can use them again later. We also have the girl that searches the set order, then places it, that gets big when boosting. It's a really good deck. This is probably the smoothest and most versatile Krysrain build that there is. It's made by the competitive player BZE, which is notable because he keeps topping and topping and in different Springfest this season. And you know, he's the 4th placer of World, so you know, that has to something. So you know, fellow Krysrain players, our coping season is over, so let's pray that Bavsarga players get their 4th attack or something to make them like win more. So I guess that's the end of that video. If you liked the video, like and subscribe or something. And this Overlord meta in Shadow vs. Wall.